Dr. Jackson, thank you so much for preparing all this. I know that you and I have talked a lot. By the way, I'm James Hescock. I write a news blog for students. And so I wanted to say, just from my experience, thank you very much for the transparency that you've shown, the time you've dedicated to talk to me and answer my questions, and even observing other UT institutions. I think UT Tyler, at least as far as I'm aware of, has been very transparent. And I think that's attributed to your leadership and to Mr. O'Donnell, so thank you very much for that. I followed this a lot, so I probably have a few more comments than most people, but I think that other people might appreciate hearing them as well. I also wanted to say I really appreciate I think I can tell the committee has taken special care to try to be as sensitive to the burden on the individual in the proposals it's made. I really appreciate that. I think that's evidenced by the Houston Engineering Center fee, which I highly support, just basically taking the fee money that Houston students would pay into the Tyler campus and returning it back to them for their own benefit and their own development there. I really commend you for that. I think that's a great change, and so I really support that. They don't have to pay any net increase to do that, so I appreciate that. So that's excellent. Also, I think the athletics fee deserves, in my opinion, I support that. I think we have an excellent athletics program. I'm not sure about the implications of going to D2, but I think the athletics program has done a lot. Plus, it also generates revenue for students. So essentially, they get a high-functioning athletics program at a reduced cost, and they receive a direct benefit from that by going to athletic programs for free, basketball games for free, soccer games. So I think that's great because it does provide a great value at a reduced cost to students. So I support that proposal as well. I think that's really great. I wanted to ask you a couple of things. You said that the tuition increase is 6% over 2 years. So what I hear you saying is 12% over 2 years. I mean,
6% per year.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. So face it, so it's at 12%. But the university only received a 6% reduction in special items fund. So it's the increase would be a 6% over the shortfall. So in other words, cut.
You have to look at the proportion of state funding to tuition funding too, because 6% of 1,000 is more than 6% of 100.
Okay, because I noticed you said in your proposal to SG last night that you use that 6% kind of as a benchmark to suggest increases, but since it was only 6% in the special items and not formula funding, does that really provide a benchmark for the 6% overall, I mean the 12% overall increase? If it was only in the special items budget that the 6% cut happened, anyway, to me it just doesn't seem like that matches. So you also said you said that the 12%, 6% each year includes everything, tuition and fees, the total net adjustment. Does that include? Does the differential tuition included in that overall, or do people who pay differential tuition, would they pay above this?
That is an addition. We need to come up with I don't know how we would do that, but yes, that's because so those students are in the overall proposal, and then the differential is an additional.
Okay, so they pay it more than the 12% over 2 years. You said, Mr. O'Donnell said last night that in student government that there would be some changes to scholarships in an effort to try to fund more. I can ask you more about that because according to the set-asides, financial need is demonstrated by the shortage a student has between the amount of contribution they can make or the family can make and then the actual cost of tuition. So if tuition, say, is hypothetically $3,000 and I can only put up $2,000, my understanding is my demonstrated financial need is what, $1,000? Something I know. I didn't hear the math I even just said, but basically, how is it possible that the university can need even more scholarship money when students already have eligibility through set-asides to get money they need to rise to the cost of tuition?
We actually just had another conversation about this this morning, and so our new scholarships, and I'm pulling this out in case Bill needs to come clarify something that I say. But, so obviously the set-asides go up when tuition goes up. And so you do have that, increase. But in addition to that, it's one of the sort of just best practices of operating that, we need to direct more money into our scholarship account that is also more flexible than just the set-aside money. And so that way, when we are looking at this proposal, we are also looking at an increase in funds to scholarship accounts, not just set-aside funds, but overall funds.
Okay.
Yeah, there's two aspects to this. One is a general rule of what you should do when you, budgeting-wise, if you have a tuition increase, is to increase scholarships at least the same percentage. Because the student gets the same scholarship they got last year, this year, the tuition went up, and they aren't equal. And so the idea is you've got to increase the scholarship pool in order to give the same type of scholarship you gave before. The other thing is that this campus hasn't necessarily, well, I want to say that, they haven't, period, increased the scholarship fund, the campus scholarship fund. The set-asides, as you indicated, do go up automatically. 15% comes out of tuition each and every year, no matter what the tuition amount is. But the campus also funds a certain pool of scholarships. And so there's more and more need beyond what the set-asides fund for students. Campus scholarships are funded. And so we just have students that have more need, and so we need more funds in that pool of campus funded scholarships, discretionary scholarships, if you will. And so to help with student success, we feel that's one aspect of the student success program is to put more funding, more discretionary funding into campus funded scholarships.
Okay, thank you for that answer. What is the basis of the scholarship? Because I know the set-asides are based on financial need, but are these scholarships you're referring to now, are they also based on financial need, or what is the qualifying factor that makes a student eligible for these scholarships?
Well, oftentimes what happens is that there's no financial aid, there's a calculation of expected family contribution. And so a lot of times students that have the highest amount of need get maximum federal funding as far as maximum Pell Grant, things like that. So oftentimes they can get fully funded to fund their education. Oftentimes it's students that have need, but maybe not as much need, that have a gap between the funding they got, Pell Grants or whatever, and what they really need to be able to go to school. And so we're trying to close that gap with our campus funded scholarships.
Okay, I appreciate that. Just some feedback, since it's the purpose of the meeting today. And you don't really have any control over this, Mr. O'Donnell, so it has nothing to do with your policy at all. But a lot of people don't know, but you know, looking at budgets, that students pay 15 to 20% over and above their actual burden to the institution in a state-mandated program called the tuition set-aside, which goes into a financial aid account that the state then makes makes up a pot of money that the state redistributes to the student's fellow classmates who demonstrate financial need. So essentially, a student is not only paying or taking out a loan for his own burden or his own cost of higher education, but also, like we said, 15 to 20% over and above for someone else's education. Now, I know you have no control over that, but to me, it's difficult to see how the expectation could be on students to pay even more in the form of scholarships when they already are burdened, not with anything they have to do with you, but they're already burdened over above their actual cost to the institution. So I don't know if you have any control over that, but as my feedback, in my view, it sounds like, anyway, I think I'm concerned about students being adversely impacted by higher tuitions, which also include in them more funds that will be redistributed to other students who won't have to pay tuition, effectively won't have to pay tuition at all. So I don't know if you want to comment that, but that's just some feedback to the committee about that.
I understand what you're saying. It's just there's a lot of individual situations that the students face. Even if the federal calculation would indicate there's a high expected family contribution type of thing, there are students that just don't get any support from the family,
Mm-hmm.
and for whatever reason. And so there's other students that we're trying to work with their situations and trying to help them the best that we can. But mostly, we're just trying to play catch up with what should have been a budget practice in the past to adjust the scholarship pool whenever tuition rates come up. So we're trying to play catch up on that just to make sure that what we're doing, what we need to do in terms of maintaining that pool, in times when tuition has gone up. So we're at least be able to give the same scholarship to the student that they got before, and keeping in mind the tuition went up. So.
I appreciate that. Some of the students who came to the university came for some of the academic scholarships that you're talking about. But now that the university is indicated that it will change the structure of those scholarships, will the students who are already receiving scholarships based on academics, I think there's one called the Regent Scholarship and Patriot Scholarship, will they be grandfathered into that program, or will they be knocked out of it and they have to apply all over again? Am I being specific enough on my question? Yeah, I don't think I was very. My understanding is that there are scholarships that are not need-based, but based on academic performance. I think my understanding is that the name of some of these scholarships might be Regent Scholarship or Patriot Scholarship, again, based on academic performance. My understanding is that from your comments last night, and I may be misunderstanding you, but that those scholarship programs are going to be changing as a result of the strategic plan. And is that true? Did I hear you correctly?
Okay. A lot of those are renewable, and so those will continue in place for those students that were awarded those scholarships. And if they're subject to renewal, they meet the requirements for the renewal, they will continue to get the scholarship. When we talk about a new scholarship program, we're talking about for new students to the institution. And so the new programs will be for new incoming students, and the old programs will continue through the life of the students that are here. Does that make sense?
Excellent. So what I hear you saying, if I'm correct, the students who are already receiving these scholarships, they still have an opportunity to participate in that? Okay, excellent. That was some confusion that I had from a student who was concerned that he came because of that scholarship and that, so I thought sure that would be good news for him.
And those are continuations. What we're talking about is for the freshmen or potential transfer students, that we have new programs for them that are different than the old programs. But the others continue in effect to those students who are already here.
Great, thank you very much. I'd like to also ask you about the student success fee, that $100 fee that's new. One is that I really appreciate the heart behind it. I know that college students have a difficult time getting a job after college. So I think that's an important priority. However, you said, Dr. Jackson, you had said that that the placement rate of UT system school or UT Tyler schools, that 82% of our graduates are finding placement in jobs, which is fantastic. I think that's great. But given that the placement is 82%, it sounds to me, and I'm open for discussion, that this fee, it seems difficult to justify why we need a $100 semester fee to help students find jobs after college, when 82% of our graduates are already successfully finding jobs after college. So I don't know that you have to speak to that, or maybe that's just my feedback, but it doesn't sound to me like it would be fair to burden students with a substantial fee compared to the other fees for an initiative that is already receiving success as we currently are structured today. Namely, they are finding jobs after college.
So that's just one piece of what, if you look at these proposed initiatives and turn off the finalists or all of them, there's more to it than just the new career success aspect. And so one thing that this can help students do is graduate in more time than you. And so at the end of the day, that would actually save them money, because not only would they save the money of an additional semester or two of school, but that semester or two they would be out in the workforce earning money. And so there are several initiatives that are going to be a part of this, regardless of what the regents eventually approve, that would be funded
That makes sense. In that case, as my feedback to you is that I know we have a career development department that already focuses on those initiatives. In my view, I would like to see that these things here come out of designated tuition rather than these fees or this new fee. Or I'd like to see the student services fee budget adjusted to service these needs before a new fee is introduced. I think that's something that we can do now without burdening students with an additional substantial fee for initiatives that, in my understanding, are already part of operational budgets of other institutions without a separate fee. And to me, honestly, this sounds more like a student services fee because the definition of the student services fee, according to state statute, are activities outside of the educational initiatives that directly benefit or students, and which I think is demonstrated by the fact there's already a line item in the student services fee for this kind of activity. So my feedback is I don't think it justifies a fee for this. And secondly, too, in addition as well, for something like this, students need to vote on this and for something like this, in my opinion. Every other student fee requires a majority approval from students, so I think it would be very unhelpful for a fee like this to be imposed without student consent. And the incidentals that you mentioned, those are, in the state statute, so those are things that like printing costs, overdue library books. It doesn't seem to substantiate something like this. So I would hope the university would not push it through something like that. So I think that would be fair to the students.